Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 9th June. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 12. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, come next weekend, fuel prices will change daily. So this is regarding the prices of petrol and diesel which you get at petrol pumps. So the prices are now going to change daily. Earlier, the prices were changed on a fortnightly basis. So now this is going to be changed to make it in a daily basis affair. Means international prices of petrol and diesel would be reflected in the national market as well in the country. So this has been initiated. This was in news last month too. In May 2017, the oil marketing PSUs, IOC, Indian Oil Corporation, HP, BP, Hindustan Petroleum, Bharat Petroleum, they had initiated this pilot project. And in few select cities in the country, dynamic pricing was put into effect. That is daily changes in the prices of petrol and diesel. So these few cities you can see, Udaipur, Puducherry, Visakhapatnam. Here this pilot project was implemented for a month and now it is going to be implemented all throughout the nation. So this has been announced. So these changes in prices, these should be communicated to the consumers too. So the oil marketing companies are considering what steps can be taken for this. SMS can be sent to consumers, or even a centralized location can have all the details, and mobile apps can be prepared to communicate these prices to the consumers. So such steps would be taken. Then next is ID proof a must to book flight ticket. So now the government is going to put into effect a policy in which whenever you book a flight ticket, you need to submit your ID proof as well. So this is going to be effective in a few months as is expected. So ID proof like Aadhaar, passport, PAN has to be submitted. So the government wants to know who is flying. They want the ID proof of the person too while the tickets are being booked. So earlier the government had implemented this no-fly list after an MP went unruly on Air India flight. So this was the step taken. A no-fly list has been prepared. So these are those unruly passengers who would be put into this list. Those would be barred from taking flights. So further steps being taken now. So this linking of Aadhaar is also expected, so that at the time of booking, if Aadhaar linking is provided, then you can use biometrics to enter into the airports. Already biometric entry systems have been put up voluntarily at various airports in the country. So this is there. Government is saying this is also going to further digitize the travel experience of air travelers. So this is part of that proposal. The next is a new cast of crabs in Western Ghats. So Western Ghats is a biodiversity hotspot in the country, and now scientists have discovered a new genus of 6 new species. So there are species and a group of species belong to a particular genus. So it's not just species discovered, but new genus discovered itself. So by itself it's a different category that way. So this new genus, and in it 6 new species have been discovered of freshwater crabs. So they have been found in this mountainous forest in the Western Ghats in the Kerala region. So here all 6 species have been discovered, and this new genus has been given the name Karkata. So this is a term which stands for crab in Sanskrit. So all these are endemic to the Western Ghats. So biodiversity hotspots in the country, if you see internationally recognized biodiversity hotspots, so the 2 prominent hotspots are Western Ghats and Eastern Himalayas. Then next is recipients of India's first uterine transplant discharged successfully. This also we had seen earlier in news that uterine transplant is proposed to be done in the country on 2 females, one from Solapur and one from Gujarat. So these transplants have been undertaken at this Pune-based institute, and it has been successfully completed. So 3 weeks have passed by and there has been no case of even organ rejection. Otherwise, when organ transplant takes place, then this is the most common case which happens, that organ rejection takes place. That means that immune system attacks the organ. It does not accept. It's an external organ which is implanted. So that is there. Otherwise, infections develop in the organ, or organ's blood supply creates problems. So then when organ rejection takes place, then the surgery is a failure. But what we have seen in these transplants, that no organ transplant case, organ rejection has been discovered. So it has been successfully completed. And now in few months, they would also have pregnancy, because uterine transplant means uterine carries the fetus. So this pregnancy would also be brought in, but then that would be only through in vitro fertilization. That is what we call in layman language test tube babies. Means the sperm and the eggs would be fertilized outside. in the laboratory in a test tube. So that is what in vitro fertilization is. So already the sperms from respective husbands have been collected and 8 embryos have been frozen as well. So then pregnancies would also be affected. So then it would be successful, the uterus has been successfully used to, so that would be the further step taken now. So such uterine transplants, they had become controversial. It was in news last month too. So the reason was that uterine transplants are required. So when your organ is not functioning effectively, you need a transplant of that organ. So then, but uterus is something where you don't need, it's not essential, it's not something life threatening that without which you can't do. It's only the wish of the woman to get pregnant that this has been gone ahead with. Otherwise, if in vitro fertilization has been done through surrogacy, you can have the child. So that option is also there. But then this has been undertaken. Only few select successful cases are there across the world of uterine transplants done successfully, and many of them are from Sweden. So now India has also successfully accomplished it. So this is an achievement here mentioned. Then next is Punjab farmers to protest on June 12 for loan waiver. So we have already seen Maharashtra farmers demanding loan waiver and protesting. We have seen even Madhya Pradesh farmers protesting for loan waiver and the police action which resulted in 5 farmers' death also. So actions have been sought in that case also. The collectors have been suspended, SPs have been suspended in the regions. Now we are seeing even Punjab farmers joining the bandwagon. They are also demanding loan waivers for the farmers, and in favor of those farmers who have lost their lives too, they are also going to start agitation on June 12. So the same demands are being put forth. They are demanding implementation of the recommendations of Swaminathan Commission report. So what the Swaminathan Commission report is, we'll discuss that also in detail. Another is also that even Rajasthan farmers, the news is coming forth that they are also planning to initiate protests and demanding loan waiver. Also yesterday we saw with RBI also bringing out its monetary policy report. It stated that such loan waivers are resulting in negative effect on the economy because it would result in huge inflationary pressure. Also the states would not be able to meet their fiscal deficit targets if they give out such loan waivers. So such statements have also come forth. So here the Swaminathan Commission report is being put forth. You can see the details here. It was the National Commission on Farmers which was appointed in 2004. It was headed by Professor M.S. Swaminathan. So it submitted 5 reports to the government by 2006. All these reports were submitted and the key recommendations are listed out here. So there are 5 to 6 categories in which these recommendations are put forth. But first and foremost, it also recommended that agriculture should be put in the concurrent list. Presently, agriculture is in the state list. So it's the duty of the state governments to provide relief to agriculture, even loan waivers. So state governments announce these. So first and foremost recommendation was this only, that agriculture is the responsibility of both union and states. So MS Swaminathan Commission recommended that it should be put in concurrent list. Presently to Punjab farmers agitating. So Punjab has Congress government which has come to power recently. So that is what they're demanding. Then these demands have to be fulfilled by Congress. And BJP, the government at center, is accusing Congress of instigating such. Even MP also, it was Congress also accused that Congress is promoting these protests by farmers. So that is the complicated nature here too. Then the recommendations which have been put forth specifically, first on land reforms. On land reforms, it is stated there should be a ceiling and this on land, and then surplus land and wasteland has to be distributed. So this is one suggestion. Also, prime agricultural land and forest land should not be given to corporate sector for non-agricultural use. So that also affects agriculture adversely. Then grazing rights and rights to access to forest to tribals has also to be provided for. So this was also a recommendation. Common property resources access should be facilitated for the farmers. There should be a national land use advisory service which should be established. So the purpose of this service would be to connect land usage decisions with ecological, meteorological and marketing factors. So how land should be used effectively, this advisory service should also be there. Then on irrigation. So second on irrigation, the recommendations given are on sustainable and equitable access of water for irrigation. Rainwater harvesting should be done. Aquifer recharge is essential. Then even million well recharge program should be initiated targeting private wells. So private wells should also be established. Also increasing investment in irrigation was suggested. Then on productivity growth, increasing agricultural productivity, the suggestions which came forth was increase in public investment in agriculture related infrastructure. So this agriculture related infrastructure means irrigation facilities, drainage and development, water conservation facilities, R&D in agriculture, and even road connectivity. So that helps in agriculture and marketing also. Then another suggestion was advanced soil testing labs. So based on what kind of soil is there, what kind of crop should be sown, that should be scientifically decided. So that will increase productivity and growth. So this is a suggestion. Then fourth category is credit and insurance. On credit and insurance, formal credit should be expanded for the farmers. Crop loan interest rate should be reduced to 4% was a suggestion given then. Of course, it's there. Then moratorium on debt recovery should be provided. Leeway should be given the demands which are being made presently to. Agriculture risk fund should be established. Kisan credit card should be given to women farmers also. Generally, they are neglected. Then integrated credit crop, livestock, human health insurance package means insurance for all. Means crops, livestock, human health should be provided. Also, crop insurance should be there across the country. So we are presently seeing that crop insurance scheme has also been implemented for all crops, and the suggestion was with reduced premiums. Presently, premiums are market determined. Then the sustainable livelihood for poor was a suggestion given for. Then on food security, the suggestions provided were universal PDS system should be in place. Then nutrition support programs should be there as such, because nutrition is the key. Micronutrient deficiencies also to be tackled. The food and water banks should be established, operated by women self-help groups. So this was also a suggestion, and especially help should be given to small and marginal farmers. So even National Food Guarantee Act should be established, like the way we have an Employment Guarantee Act, even Food Guarantee Act should be formulated. And finally, on preventing farmers' suicides, it was suggested that affordable health insurance should be provided in rural areas. Even those suicide hotspots, on a priority basis, there should be National Rural Health Mission extended here. Then state level farmers commissions should be established with representatives of farmers, so that can come together and put forth their suggestions and their problems which they face. Then restructuring of microfinance policies. So finance should reach these farmers. That is important. Crop insurance again reiterated. Village to be the assessor and not the block. Block level assessment should not be done, but village level assessment should be done for whatever schemes, programs have to be implemented. Then social security net should be extended. Even old age support, health insurance should be provided. Rainwater conservation, all these also irrigation facilities. If agriculture flourishes, then farmer suicides will also go down. So same recommendations are reiterated here too. So this is there. Then next is water quality index set to be announced soon. So Telangana State Pollution Control Board had given a proposal to Central Pollution Control Board that there should be a water quality index established, the way we have an air quality index in place since some time now. So this is the demand coming forth, and based on this, a committee has also been established by Central Pollution Control Board comprising of environmental scientists, and they are working on having a water quality index developed. So this will be announced soon. What we are getting here is a hint about what's going on in the committee. So the committee is also studying similar models, water quality index models in Australia and Canada. And what they are proposing is that there should be different models of water quality, because it's a complicated aspect. So 3 different models are proposed here. One for lakes and rivers, one for groundwater, and one for coastal water. So the parameters for each of these models is also different. So this is being worked on. Presently, what is going on is the testing of these models is taking place in various states. So the checking of the accuracy of the output is being seen. Once it is finalized, the complete report, final report would be submitted to the Central Pollution Control Board, and then it would be made public and implemented. So this is regarding water quality index. The next is only PSUs may be led to make oxytocin. So oxytocin is basically a hormone. So this hormone drug is a Schedule H drug too in the country. It's given as a drug too, and it is generally used by dairy owners and farmers to boost milk production and make vegetables look bigger and fresher. So oxytocin retail ban has already been put into effect by the government of India in 2014. So now what it is proposing is that it should not be allowed to be produced by private sector. Only PSUs should be allowed to make oxytocin. So this is being put into effect. So Drug Controller General of India has said that Home Ministry has given this suggestion, and we are also agreeing with this suggestion of the Home Ministry, and we would make manufacture of oxytocin only possible for public sector undertaking, so that regulation can be brought in, because private sector, it is manufacturing, it is selling. It's a Schedule H drug. So Schedule H drug also means that an RX symbol is there, means it should be sold on retail only on the prescription by a registered medical practitioner. So this is what a Schedule H drug means, but then with how much this is effective or not is a question, because chemists do sell these even without a prescription. So then that concern is there. So the best thing what is being proposed here is that only PSUs should be allowed to manufacture this oxytocin drug. And also manufacture and sale of oxytocin without a license is a cognizable offence now. Also the central government is pointing out at a Himachal Pradesh High Court direction. In March 2016, this High Court directed the central government to consider the feasibility of restricting manufacture of oxytocin to only public sector companies. So this is being put into effect now. So this is regarding oxytocin. So it's a hormone. So this hormone is used, it stimulates the contraction of uterus during childbirth. It helps in secretion of milk during nursing. So it's used on animals also, plants also, and it is generally used to increase milk production. So there have been demands to regulate oxytocin because it is harmful for the animals. It results in physical, psychological consequences for the animals. Many a times they go sterile as well. So this is the regulation which is being brought in now for that. Then next is $1 million fund established to bolster BRICS media. So BRICS grouping comprising of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, they have had their first session of BRICS Media Forum. So at this BRICS Media Forum in China, the president of Xinhua News Agency has announced that Xinhua will invest $1 million to boost media cooperation amongst the 5 BRICS nations. So this has been welcomed, and news agencies from each of these countries, from India it is the Hindu group of publication which has been selected. So this BRICS Media Forum meeting would take place, and what they are proposing to do is bringing in balanced reporting in the country. So what is being seen presently is media reports what is coming forth through Washington and London. So the Western powers are deciding what comes out in the news media internationally. So to bring in a balanced reporting and an alternative media narrative, an investment is being sought, and cooperation amongst these BRICS nations is being sought. So this is being put forth. Also, New Development Bank has welcomed this initiative. New Development Bank also should know this is the multilateral lender established for BRICS. So you can see this is the BRICS Development Bank, which is called New Development Bank. So these are the contributions of each of these nations. You can see the initial capital as such is $100 billion. Then the next news item is 70 dead in Al-Shabaab attack in Somalia. So this Al-Shabaab extremist group, which is affiliated to Al-Qaeda, is infiltrating this region and causing attacks here. Presently what has taken place is an attack on the military base in Somalia. So in this 70 people have been killed and dozens more have been wounded. So this is the twin challenge before Somalia. You can see this is in the Horn of Africa here. So in this region, this Al-Shabaab group attacks Somalia and Kenya, the 2 nations where it has its hold. And here we are seeing that Islamic State militant attacks also take place, plus Al-Shabaab is also attacking these regions. So this is a twin challenge before the security forces in this region. So here basically what you should know is that Al-Shabaab is also a terrorist organization. So even if an MCQ comes up, you should know from which region it comes. So it's from Somalia. Then next is 2 states breach 3% fiscal deficit target. So this is regarding the fiscal deficit. So what is fiscal deficit? You should understand that first. So in a government budget, you have 2 sides, revenue side and expenditure side. So balanced budget would be one in which revenue and expenditure is balanced. How much the government is getting, and that is what it is spending. So but then in some cases, it happens that the budget is not balanced. So there can be a deficit budget. So this term which is used, but then even if there is a deficit, you have to make provision for the money. So the fiscal deficit, budget sides are balanced, revenue expenditure sides are balanced, but that is done through this fiscal deficit, which means government borrowing. So fiscal deficit gives you the idea of the total borrowing requirements of the government. That is what you can see. So here you can see revenues, it's the tax expenditure, tax revenue, non-tax revenue, and capital receipts. So this revenue side, expenses are, you know, inflexible, you can say. So expenses do take place, but then in revenue side, money is there, but it's not sufficient to meet the expenses. So some amount of money which is made, provision for which is made to take care of this expenses is in the capital receipts, you can see. So there are these debt receipts and non-debt receipts. So non-debt receipts in capital is fine. Debt receipts means how much debt the government is taking, borrowing which the government is doing, that is called fiscal deficit. So this fiscal deficit, how much should it be? A target is set. So that has been done through the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act. And of course, a new FRBM is being proposed to be finalized now. So this target is in terms of GDP, the gross domestic product of the country. So how much percentage of GDP can fiscal deficit be? So the target which has been set for states is that it should not breach this 3% of as target. Means fiscal deficit, you can see gross fiscal deficit to GDP ratio can be maximum 3%. So this 7 states were about to breach 3% fiscal deficit target, and RBI had already cautioned them that they should not breach this target. And now 2 states, RBI is saying, the present news is that 2 states have already breached this 3% fiscal deficit target. So RBI says there is no constitutional backing with them that they can stop these states from breaching the 3% fiscal deficit mark. Of course, there is a provision that if they want to exceed this 3% mark, they have to take permission from the center. But even if that is not done, there is no way that any action can be taken against them. So that helplessness is also highlighted here. So the point which is raised by RBI regarding this breaching of fiscal deficit target is regarding the loan waivers which are being given by the state governments presently. So many state governments have provided these loan waivers to farmers, because of which the burden on the government increases and they are breaching the fiscal deficit target. So this is also one of the reasons highlighted. The next is DGFT may come under Revenue Department. So this is regarding Directorate General of Foreign Trade. So this Directorate General of Foreign Trade is presently under Department of Commerce, and we had seen few days ago Ministry of Commerce had given this suggestion that they want to rationalize, streamline their functioning, and they don't want non-core functions. The emphasis should be on core functions. So Ministry of Commerce wants to emphasize on policy, on foreign trade policy formulation, not implementation. So it had also suggested that this should go over to Central Board of Excise and Customs. But then CBEC also stated that they do not have the expertise in this domain. So that is why Directorate General of Foreign Trade is with Ministry of Commerce. So even foreign trade policy implementation should stay with them only. So now what is being suggested is that Directorate General of Foreign Trade should be shifted from Department of Commerce to Department of Revenue. So this is being considered by the central government now. So what would happen is then the DGFT's role is actually both foreign trade policy formulation and implementation, and Department of Commerce wants to give formulation with itself but not implementation. And Central Board of Excise and Customs is giving its own suggestion. It is saying that because another important role of CBEC is that under the Trade Facilitation Agreement, they have established this National Committee on Trade Facilitation. So this is an interministerial committee, and the secretariat of this is also in the Central Board of Excise and Customs. It was recently established in August 2016 after India ratified the Trade Facilitation Agreement of WTO. So what is Trade Facilitation Agreement? Also a glimpse of it we'll see. So this is there. Also India, the government is highlighting that this step is being taken to rationalize ease of doing business, because CBC also states that many a times there are these complaints coming from foreign trade sector that the division of trade facilitation related work between Department of Commerce and Department of Revenue results in red tapeism and delay. So if it's also is taken, the Directorate General of Foreign Trade is taken over under our Department of Revenue, then this red tapeism delay can be eliminated, and even India's ranking, which is quite low in World Bank's ease of doing business, will improve. So present the ranking is 130 out of 190 countries. Also further, in trading across borders, our ranking is 143 out of 190 countries. So this will be improved if steps are taken to rationalize this foreign trade. So this is a suggestion coming forth. So we'll have to wait and watch what happens on this matter too, because the decision of the center has not come forth yet. And this is regarding the World Bank report also on ease of doing business. So again, here you should know ease of doing business, or the doing business report as it is called, is provided by World Bank. So such MCQs are also asked in prelims. Doing business report is brought out every year by then they'll give you 4 options. So it is World Bank here. Then also under this, there are various parameters on the basis of which ranking is done. India's rank you can see is 130 in 2016. The overall rank is 130. 2017 rank is shown here, you can see. Then these are the parameters, 9 parameters on the basis of which the ranking is also done. So in each of these parameters also 10 parameters on the basis of which ranking is done. Then this is regarding the trade facilitation agreement. So this was pushed at WTO and this has been put into effect too. It became effective from Feb 2017, just recently. So after the ratification by the requisite number of countries, it has been put into effect. It was going on, adoption of this trade facilitation agreement was also done in 2013 December at WTO summit in Bali. So what it proposes is that trade should be facilitated, and this has been emphasized and endorsed by the developed countries too, stating that this is not opening up any new market. What we want is only trade facilitation. But of course, who will it benefit is the developed countries, because what is trade facilitation is basically customs. At customs, there should be rationalization, because what happens is that developing countries, underdeveloped countries may have their markets open to commodities from developed countries, but then the developed countries cannot reach up there because of the paperwork and red tapeism at customs. So to rationalize the customs here, bringing it in single window facility, paperless, automated systems, simplification, harmonization of these procedures and forms is what trade facilitation agreement proposes to put into effect. So all countries who ratify it will have to bring in these provisions. So India, after ratifying it, is binding on it that it has to make changes as per the requirement of this agreement. So this you can see, it plans, what it seeks to implement is simplification. So elimination of redundancies and repetitions in processes and procedures. Harmonization means assignment of national procedures with international standards. So harmonize them with international standards, and standardization. Internationally agreed practices, procedures and documentation should be there. So this is the trade facilitation agreement which has been put into effect. And India had actually delayed this trade facilitation agreement to, it refused to ratify it because it stated that this is one agreement which developed countries are pushing for, but what India wants to have discussion at WTO is agreement on agriculture. So agreement on agriculture provides a limit, cap on the subsidies which can be provided by countries and developing countries, and this cap of 10% is going to be breached by India soon, because it's also based on 1986-88 prices. So this was a concern for India, because under our public distribution system, subsidies are provided, procurement is done from farmers. So this will be coming before WTO then, because a breach would take place soon, because the limit is being reached now. So then eventually negotiations came forth and a peace clause was implemented that there will be immunity till 2017 and there will be no penalty for breach of subsidy cap as such till then, and the final and a permanent solution would also be brought forth. So after this assurance was provided, India also ratified trade facilitation agreement. So this give and take had also taken place then. Then the next news item is the last one, Indian American among 12 new astronauts chosen by NASA. So NASA has chosen 12 new astronauts, and one of them is an Indian American, Lieutenant Colonel Raja Chari. He is a 39-year-old man. He is commander of the 461st Flight Test Squadron in California. So he's with the Edwards Air Force Base in California. So he is one of the 12 chosen, and these 12 astronauts will now undergo 2-year training, and then they could be assigned missions to perform research on International Space Station. So they will be launched from American soil on spacecraft built by commercial companies, because now we know NASA's space launch vehicles, space shuttles as such have been not retired. So now what the space launch which are taking place and even humans being taken in space is only through private commercial companies, and SpaceX is one of the prominent ones. Also, a lead engineer of SpaceX is one of the 12 candidates who have been selected by NASA, and this is the Indian origin, Lieutenant Colonel Raja Chari. Then this is regarding ISS, International Space Station. So when these humans are taken in space, this is where they go and they undertake research. So International Space Station has been established. It's an artificial habitable satellite. So this is in low Earth orbit. You can see the orbit of ISS also. It is at an altitude between 330 to 435 kilometers. It can be seen with naked eye as well. So it is the largest man-made body in low Earth orbit, and it can be, as I said, can be seen with naked eye. The first component of it was launched in 1998, and it is a joint program of 5 space agencies: NASA, Russia's Roscosmos, JAXA of Japan, European Space Agency, and Canadian Space Agency. So this is India's ISRO is not part of it, you should know. So ISS consists of pressurized modules, external trusses, even solar arrays are there to provide energy to them, and other components. So ISS components are launched presently by Russian Proton, Soyuz rockets, and earlier even American space shuttles were used. The ISS, serves as a laboratory. So it undertakes microgravity and space environment research as such, and the crew members conduct experiments in biology, human biology, physics, astronomy, meteorology, etc. So such experiments have been undertaken here since 1998 when its first component was launched. So these are the news items. Thank you.